Hey, alrighty. Here we are live again. Yeah, I had to, the reason why I was late getting the stream set up and posted is because I had to work a double shift last night. Guy called in sick, so I had to work from 11 last night till 3 this afternoon. And don't have my microphone up here. And ended up getting home about the time I'd normally get up from my nap before the stream. So got everything underway. Want to see how I came along with the clock. Not a whole lot of progress this week. I've been busy with a bunch of other little things. And today I'm just too tired and don't have the eyesight for doing little fiddly bits. You can tell I'm on camera and don't have my clock all set up in front of me. So going to give the clock a break. We'll get into the bushings next time we do it. Next Tuesday, I'm probably not going to be able to do a show. I got to see a guy about a thing, and I'm not going to be back in time to get anything really set up and underway. So other than that, though, I do have a couple little news items. My old wood stove sold. Took it to an auction place, and the auction finally got done. Got a fair price for it. Kind of on the low end of what I was hoping for, but it's a decent price for it. And I didn't show you my ultrasonic cleaner last time. You can get them cheap on eBay. This isn't an expensive one. Well, I'll show you that in a little bit. And my extravagant handled burnishing tool, I had to cut the handle down probably about 1.5 inches so it would fit in my little toolbox. I would have had to do that anyway just so it would fit in my little toolbox and I could keep it somewhere. But the main reason is, for some reason, Minnie has decided that this is her favorite new toy. If I set this thing down for more than 5-10 minutes and don't have my hand on it, she'll take off with it. She'll slap it on the floor, chase it all over the goddamn house. And she just loves this thing for some reason. I don't know why. It's just a dowel that I was playing around on the lathe, experimenting. I had took a couple of battered old lathe chisels, reground them, resharpened them. I was just messing around, testing them out, and just came up with that little thing. And it's just a piece of dowel. But for some reason, she just loves this thing and will not leave it alone unless I got it secured somewhere. But anyway, I'm going to show you. Let me share the screen here. I'll show you what my old wood stove looks like. A bone. Yeah, it's just a piece of, I think that was 3/4 inch dowel. Had, a little chunk of that laying around. I was just fooling around with it. Make Minnie your own. Yeah, I could probably give her the cutoff piece for that, but I'm sure since it isn't something I need, she won't be interested in it. And, if it's a tool, I had a dog that would do that too. If I was working on a car outside, I'd set a tool down, and a couple minutes later, it'd be gone. You start looking around, and there's a dog out in the middle of the yard chewing on the screwdriver or something. And I had a hell of a time with that silly dog. But anyway, I'll show you what my cook stove sold for. Let me get that brought up here. And there's one other thing I was going to show you that's for sale. It's got a day or so left on Goodwill. Let's see, allow this. Allow. Why aren't you allowing? There it is. Oh, and big in that. And it sold for $315. I was figuring $300 to $400. It's a nice little stove. It works, but it's got some problems. It isn't perfect condition, and it's nothing really big and fancy. So I was figuring $300 to $400 for it. Would have been nice if it would have went for a little bit more, but I can't complain too much. And hopefully the new owner will be happy with it. There it is, sitting over at the auction place. Dog was a mechanic in a previous life. He might have been. Though I don't know why they got the little side door open in all the pictures. But there's the stove. You guys have seen the old stove before. And it's on to a new home. All cleaned out inside and ready to go. Hopefully somebody... what would that lid I showed you be worth? I'm trying to remember which lid it was now. But I sold that, and I had a couple other little items that I sold too. Yeah, it's small bottles. I got $25 for those. Oh, the large hand boiler. I really don't know. Lid like that, because it's gate marked. If you had a gate marked hand boiler and you knew it would fit, you could, might go anywhere from 75 to 125. I mean, usually cast iron lids of any sort, especially skillet lids and Dutch oven lids, usually you're looking around $75 for kind of a generic price. If you can get them, 40 or 50, definitely grab them. But yeah, for something like that, if somebody needs one, I could easily see it going for 100. But if they didn't know what it was or what it was for, maybe 50, 60. Are stove eye lifters universal? Not really. Let me see if you can see these have a little dip with a bar across it. Those are kind of universal. There's a couple of styles where they don't have the bar that goes all the way across. I think, let me see here. It shows a close-up of that extra lid. Let me look here. Yeah, this one here, the bar is broken off. But a lot of them, they'll just have a couple little tabs on the side instead of a bar across. Those will fit with the same kind of lifter. But there's some that are more of a slot, and they have a different shaped lifter. There's not a whole lot of different styles. There's maybe 2 or 3, but they're not universal. There's the old heat gauge on it. But yeah, like I said, I was fairly happy with what it sold for. It was a fair price. And I'll stop the screen on this, and I'll bring up the other little thing I was going to show you here in a bit. I can bring this back up here where it belongs. I can close that off. There we go. Mrs. Mud Duck is making her way back from Oklahoma. Well, lovely stove. Yeah, it's a nice little stove. Like I said, it's not perfect condition, but it's definitely worth $300. Kind of hard to say when the best time of year would have been to sell it. Maybe after Labor Day into September, it might have went a bit higher because people looking for a cook stove for their hunting shack or something like that. But then again, this time of year, a lot of people are going up to the cabin anyway, so they figure, oh, hey, we'll get a stove and get it all set up over the summer and be ready. It seemed to have drawn a pretty good number of bids. So overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Money thief and a tool thief. Yeah, she just decided she's got to play with that thing. Your dog will chew the crap out of it. You already have several of your tools and wire cords. Yeah, like I said, I've had dogs that do that. They'd run off with tools and start chewing on the damn things. Go back here quick and see anything. Handsome Stone, Pat Z, and Dan are all here. Cynthia, I didn't say hi to everybody yet. Chris Salverson, been having trouble getting here on Tuesdays. Well, do what you can. And if nothing else, you can always watch the replay later on. Corey Clark, Fuzz, he's here. Hope I show off some cast iron. Didn't get any new cast iron this week. I didn't really get anywhere. I do have something nice coming once it finally shows up. Has Minnie stole any more money? No, she hasn't, but I usually keep it kind of tucked away underneath something here on my little desk so it isn't quite as easy to run off with. Got something itching in my ear. All right. Anyway, I will bring this up quick and show you this if anybody's looking for one of these things. Put in my favorites. All right, let's see. I'll bring that down on the other screen. I'll present that. And allow that. There you go. What you got here is a Wagner hinged aluminum omelet pan. Looks to be in fairly decent shape. It's on the Goodwill site. I know a couple of folks have been interested in these, and this is a nice brand named Wagner. A little bit of cleaning is all that would take. The handles look really nice. Flip around here a little bit. Wagner Ware 820. And there's the thing there. It's got 2 days and 4 hours left. It closes at 8:42 p.m. Pacific time on the 10th. So if anybody is interested in one of these things, there's a Wagner omelet pan. I see a lot of Supermade and a couple other of the other aluminum brands, but you don't see the Wagner or Griswold very often. And so far it's only going for $12.99, but I'm sure that'll pick up a bit. But yeah, it's definitely something worthwhile. And you got a couple of days. Like I said, it ends on 7/10. So if you're interested, mosey on over to the Goodwill site and have a look at it. Corey has that pan. I know there are a couple of folks who got similar ones. Let's see. Every time I watch it, it makes me think about getting everything out. Just think about it. That's about as far as it gets. Well, just thinking about it is kind of fun sometimes too. This would be a bit too much effort to actually do anything. Okay, I'm going to put that off. But yeah, if you're looking for one of them, there's one of them. I have a yellow one with a rooster on it. So I shouldn't try and talk when I'm taking a sip of water. Heads up, anyone interested, the new Wagner long griddle is on sale, 25% off. That's cool. I still think it's kind of a bad idea to for them to start off their big relaunch with that griddle, because they're going to have to price it fairly high. You know, they just don't, they're not, you know, Wagner isn't a huge company anymore, and they can't compete with the, you know, the economy of scale that Lodge can. I mean, Lodge can make $500,000 of these things in a week for $40 a piece. You know, where Wagner, they're going to have to charge a couple hundred for them. But the thing is, you can get an original vintage one for, you know, $75, $80. So it's going to be kind of a uphill battle when they're competing against their own product like that. They would have been better off, I think anyway, to reissue some of the more hard to find some of the more scarce stuff, like a square chicken fry or something like that, you could easily justify charging $350 for the reissue, because in an original one you're going to pay $500 for it. So they're not competing against themselves. And if they did that with some of their more difficult to find things, some of the bakeware, there's not a huge demand for that, but a few of the bakeware items you could probably sell, those at a price that they could afford to sell it at, but still be cheaper than what an original is. But that's my opinion. I hope they do well. It'd be nice to see them back in business. But yeah, I don't think that was probably the best thing for them to start off with. And if they do ever get back into making skillets, because the skillet market's fairly saturated, it's going to be hard to sell. Like I said, it's going to be a little bit tough to sell some of that. It would be nice if they reissued the pie logo. If they're going to do something like that, get back into the skillets, and they could definitely get a little bit more interest in it than just just another skillet. Just finished your video with the cow, pig, and hamburger hibachi. Cool. I'll have to check that out. Like I say, there's got to be a fish. I'm sure there is. I think somebody mentioned that there is, but you'd have to think there'd be a fish if you got a cow and a pig already and a hamburger. Might even be a hot dog one. That'd be another shape that would kind of lend itself to the thing. What else is I got to do here? I showed you that. I got that thing flicking by out of the corner of my eye. Get rid of that omelet pan. There we go. Oh, you just won a number 9, the favorite skillet. Cool. I'm going to get one eventually. Most of the ones I've come across, I always go, somebody outbids me by that much. And, I still haven't lucked out and won the bid on that. But I did get a pretty cool pan for a decent price for what it is. And I'm waiting for that to get shipped, and I'll show you that as soon as it comes in. Don't know how really rare they are, but it's the only one I've seen. So you have a beautiful number 8. Yeah, I don't have any of the favorites. Your favorite Pequas. Yeah, I got some of them, but the favorite is a whole different company. I think part of the motivation was for the long griddle was the success of Blackstone griddles. It could be, and it's a fairly simple thing to make. It's not a really complex casting either. So, there's probably a couple of justifications for it, but like I said, they put themselves in a position where they're competing against their own product, and you're trying to sell a copy or a reissue. It's a legitimate thing, but you're trying to sell a new one for 3 or 4 times the price of what you can get an original for it. It's a tough one. The favorites are hard to find. Columbus Stoveworks. Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was Columbus or I'm too damn tired to think. But yeah, Columbus Stoveworks. Oh, the same one that did Iron Age. That's what I'm thinking of. Maybe that was. Interested to see what Wagner puts out next. You don't think they're trying to compete with Lodge? No. And Foster. Yeah. I want to get the Foster line, one of those two eventually. There's a lot of them I'd like to get at a Loth. Some of the smaller, lesser known manufacturers. You see them every now and then, but yeah, like I said, usually on things like that, I seem to get outbid by just that little bit more than I'm willing to pay. But yeah, Wagner, they're not trying to compete with Lodge. They're more into the boutique iron kind of end of it, because there's no way they can. They just don't have they can't put out the volume. The more volume, the lower the price, and they're just not in a position to do that anymore. Back in their heyday, they were a huge company making, they're like Lodges now. I mean, they make millions of pounds of iron a week, and so yeah, they can't. There's no way they can compete with that yet. I thought the Foster fryer lid would fit on the Dutch oven. You were wrong. Yeah, it's the endless problems with the lid. I mean, you find one that fits. That's all you can do sometimes if you want a lid for something. Columbus Hollower. Yeah, but wasn't there a Columbus Stoveworks, and they got the itching, just driving me nuts. There was either Columbus Stoveworks or Columbus Iron and Stove. They they made a Sportsman grill. They kind of started back in the 50s with Sportsman grills they were putting out, and eventually I think they became Char broil grills, the gas grills that are still around today. I think it's Char broil is another line that they had. And, they've shut down the cast iron, but they still make the grills. Hotter than a two-peckered billy goat. It was hot as hell and humid this weekend. Temperature has come down. We had some storms go through, but that didn't do any good for the humidity. It's still been fairly humid. A little better day. It's supposed to be pretty nice tomorrow, though. Life-threatening flash flood in New Mexico. Yeah, they had some nasty flash flood, and it's amazing, how fast water can rise, especially get in hilly country like that, running down a gully. It's they say if you see water come trickling down a dry creek bed, get the hell out of there, because you see a little bit, there's usually a lot more coming behind it. Yeah, those grills in the BSR Q grill look like a pregnant woman lying on her back. Yeah, I've got a fish fryer for one of those Columbus grills. Yeah, see, I think it was Columbus Ironworks is what they were, CIW, and I got the bottom for a fryer for it, but I don't have a grill or a lid or anything like that for it. The poor people were sleeping. Yeah, I mean it's a hell of a tragedy. It was drenched in 10 minutes outside, 97 and humid. Concrete made it hotter. Yeah, you get that heat radiating back from the concrete. Picked up a 3-notch Lodge, a spinner until it gets hot. Yeah, that's kind of weird. Usually it's the other way around. A lot of times when you're, especially when you're first heating it up, the bottom will bow a little bit and it'll be flat when it's cold, and it'll spin a little bit when it's hot. Kind of weird that it's the other way around. Well, once in a great while, you will see a pan that normally you get a spinner that bowls downward in the middle. Once in a great while you'll see one that bowls up, but normally it's the opposite way around. Time for a beard trim. Yeah, I probably got to cut my hair and beard here again before too long. It isn't too ratty yet, so I'll put it off for a bit more. Does anyone know where to get the little brass or metal collars for wood waffle iron handles? You can find they're for they're ferrules for kind of like ferrules for PEX pipe. I found them on Granger. You can get brass ones, and they're either for PEX pipe or ferrules for you would crimp them on for air hoses, things like that. And they work good for waffle iron handles. You know, there's a few different sizes you can get. Look at Granger and look for brass ferrules, and you can probably find some there. Or if they want too much, you can at least, figure out what you're looking for and if they'd work. Yep. Ferrule is how it's spelled, yeah. Ferrules for files. Yeah. Lee Valley Tools. Yeah, maybe. Like I found them on Granger, ones that would work because I was looking for ferrules for waffle iron handles, and I know they've got some, but Granger's usually kind of expensive, and if you can find them cheaper somewhere else, definitely go ahead. I need them for a Stover 7, a Wapak Indian, and I believe a Sydney. A lot of the Sydney, if it's made by Wagner. I think I got one here actually. If I can reach it. A lot of the Wagners, they were tin plated brass. I mean, they're brass, but they're silver. So, brass isn't entirely correct for them. But I have seen other ones with brass ferrules on them too. So, but yeah, Granger's a place to start. I mean, if nothing else, you could figure out exactly what you need and then see if you can find the same thing cheaper on Amazon. Val's Black Cat's Rule. Nice to see you. Pleasant Hardware has a lot of stuff like that. Oh yeah, I was going to show you my Amazon ultrasonic cleaner. It wasn't hugely expensive. It was $85. And let me get it over here. And as usual, the size I need and the size I end up with usually aren't quite the same. Or if you can find one that's the size you need, it's twice as much as the next size smaller. But this got a lid on it. You can see I wanted to find something that was a little bit wider. Would have been nice. I mean, it's plenty long, but it could have been a couple inches wider. Would have been handy. And you can find them like that, but of course the price goes up hugely. This one worked out pretty good. It's got a nice little basket inside. Come on here. Little basket inside. And I bought this separate. That's a little screen ball brass thing. I'll set this aside. It works really good. It's a cheap one. It's a La Choy. Not to be confused with chow mein noodles, which you probably got a bag of in your fridge. But I got that. It's a little brass mesh screen ball thing. You unscrew it, and you can put little bits in there, screw it back together, and throw it in. You can make them out of hobby brass tubing from most hardware stores. Yeah, that'll work too. You can get brass tubing. You can use copper tubing if you wanted to as well, but that'd look like copper. It's the ancient Sydney before Wagner. Had a hinge that looks like the round end of a rod. Yeah, I know what I've seen that style, but I don't have a Sydney. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's kind of a three-pronged one, with two of them overlapping the other, and it hinges. And it's just a round plug on the end. Just like your waffle iron, you need two handles. Yeah, I gotta do some more handle turning. I think I got one spare stover set made, but I just haven't had 1.5 million other little things going on, which is always a problem. But every now and then I'll be able to get into something where I can get most of one project done. I was told that only Sydney and Wapak use that hinge. Think a pencil eraser, but bigger. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't have anything really comparable to it handy to show, but yeah, I've seen that style. William can make most things wooden. Yeah, handles aren't hard. It can be kind of tricky to get them to actually match, especially if you're just kind of freehanding, eyeballing, comparing to your old one. And you want them to match because you're going to be right side by side. And if one of them is obviously different than the other, it looks kind of silly. But if you get them close enough, you can get away with kind of surprising how much difference you can actually get away as long as it's reasonably close. But yeah, I haven't had much time for playing around on the lathe lately. Gotta get another set made for Noel Griswold and Alfred Anderson cornucopia Krumenkaka iron. Both just 5/8 dull, but just haven't had the time. Yeah, that's one. That's an Anderson handle there that I made, and yeah, that's what they look like. They're not really a difficult thing to make. You can bang them out pretty quick, but like I said, you want to get them. What's the other one? Well, when you got two of them side by side, you don't want one that's 1/4 inch longer than the other one. But yeah, I turned that out of a piece of some nice hard maple and lacquered it. Really like that black lacquer on there. Bakelite? No, that's wood, but it's like I say, it's lacquer on it, and it really gets that nice glossy shine. There you can see the end. That's just wood. Ronald Coward finally home, been listening. Good to make it home. Let's see. Yeah, that's about all I got really to show for tonight as far as new things. But yeah, that kind of surprised how well that ultrasonic cleaner worked. It's got a heater function to it. You can heat your liquid a bit. Although it'll pretty much just heat up on its own if you run a couple of batches of things through it. Just the friction of it running will warm it up. A little bit loud, but I got no complaints about it. Have I done anything on my new land? I went out there and wandered around shortly after I finally got everything bought and paid for. But other than that, I'm not really going to do a whole lot. Once the bugs settle down in the fall, string some trail cameras out there and see where the deer are running around out there. Got a pretty good idea where they are anyway. But started turning with chair legs so you can do just about anything. Yeah, like I said, I mean, there's nothing really too overly complicated with waffle iron handles. You know, like I said, as long as you get them close enough that they're not obviously hugely different right next to each other. Oh, shooting you under shorts on your new land. Yeah, just went out there and eyeballed everything up, make sure it was found where the survey markers were and all that. Because of course one corner is out under the lake, so they had to set a couple of different monuments. But the survey is all registered and everything, so you know where stuff is. Shows off that land will have hardy women hunting them down. I just might. Of course, they might get themselves in. Did I ever get the swans again? They've come back a couple of times. You know, they don't seem to be staying. You know, but they'll drop by every week or so for a while. So they're in the area, and they act like a pair, but they wouldn't be moving around as much as they are if they were nesting anywhere. So I don't really know what's going on with them. And I don't know how old they are when they start breeding. I mean, they might go 2 or 3 years before they actually start nesting. So I'm hoping they'll nest here because that'd be really cool to have baby swans out in the lake. But it's good to have them around, you know, even if they're in the area, just to have them around, because it's been, God, since the 20s around here, since there's been swans, you know, native swans running around anywhere. But the trumpeter swans, they have made a hell of a comeback. I mean, there's some states where you can hunt them again. They've got enough of a population that they got a hunting season on them. It's supposed to be good eating. I mean, they're damn near twice as big as a Canada goose, so you could feed a hell of a lot of people with a swan. Cast iron community campground. I'm a little bit too antisocial for that. And work sucks. Yes, it does. Had to work 16 hours a day. You got one of those Wagner omelet pans somewhere in the garage? That's cool. Yeah, like I said, they're a neat pan, and I know, you know, I've seen people have been talking about them out here before, so figured I'd point that one out to everybody. Some guy put in an ad for a wife, got hundreds of replies from guys who said you can have mine. Yeah, I'm sure there's quite a few wives would have the same idea. In Springfield, they've been hunting them. Yeah, I guess you can. I guess North and South Dakota, they got swan seasons. You can hunt sandhill cranes too. It's supposed to be really good eating, but can't say I've ever had an overwhelming desire to go out and shoot a sandhill crane. But they're a pretty good sized bird too. You get a good chunk of meat off of them. Egrets love swans. I've only had snowy egrets here once. One year they came by and they they hung out for quite a while. They're here for like a month. There's a pair of them, but yeah, there's only been the one time I've seen them here. Get lots of herons, blue herons. Get green herons. They're kind of a cool little bird. You don't shoot waterfowl. Yeah, I don't do a whole lot of waterfowl hunting either. Ribeye of the sky. Yeah, sandhill cranes are supposed to be really good. But like I said, I never had any great desire to go out and shoot one. Where's Minnie? Where is she? I don't know. She's around. You keep missing her, Eileen. But yeah, I don't know if you saw it earlier, but my burnishing tool is Minnie's new favorite toy. I got to keep it put away, otherwise she runs off with that. Have pelicans. They love eating the baby ducks. Yeah, around here, snapping turtles. You get a lot of snapping turtles and northern pike. We just call them northern and muskie. They they get a lot of ducklings. Your friend came to show you Red Mountain number 14. Seller got her good, long crack. That's a shame. Yeah, in the Panhandle, we get thousands of sandhill cranes when they migrate. We get quite a few of them here. I mean, they're pretty common bird around here, and especially in the spring, there's a big swamp that's probably about 3/4 of a mile to the northwest of me through the woods. And when they're migrating in the spring, there must be a bunch of them that flock up there before they start scattering out because they're just noisy as hell. I mean, it's a good 3/4 of a mile away and it sounds like they're out in the front yard sometimes. Turtles can be ruthless. Yeah, they'll snarf ducklings, goslings, pretty much anything they can get in their mouth. They'll definitely grab a hold of them. Roadkill saves ammo. Oh yeah, I've hit more than a few critters with my car that wound up in the freezer. Pickled pike or perch. Yeah, they're damn good pickled. I used to know how to fillet the Y bones out of northerns, and it's been so long since I actually done it. Most of the ones I caught lately, I just chunk them up and pickle them, and the vinegar will dissolve the Y bones after a while. So I haven't had to mess around with them in a while. But if you fillet those Y bones out of northern fillets, they're damn good eating just fried. And perch is great. I mean, that's one of the best eating fish around. Alligator snappers will eat an adult duck if it isn't paying attention. Yeah, they're a little bit bigger than your basic snapping turtle. Oh, that reminds me. I'm going to make some pickled beef heart this week. I had made some before, and I put it up in pints and pressure canned it. I got the recipe right. It tasted pretty good, but when you can it and you have to cook it that long, it tends to dry it out. So this time around, I'm just going to do it in the fridge, see how that turns out. I got 3 nice big beef hearts, and over the weekend, I'll get them cleaned up and pack them in gallon jars and put them in the fridge. Bikers drink a lot of wine, makes them already marinated, makes good jerky. Beef heart. Oh, the heart's usually the best part of just about any critter. Beef heart, chicken heart, venison heart, turkey hearts. A lot of people don't really think so, but tongue is really good too. In fact, a lot of your genuine Mexican street tacos, the beef in those is usually tongue because you can get it dirt cheap and cook it down until it strings up nice. But I like to tongue just roast it or do it on a rotisserie and slice it. It's damn tasty. How do you serve beef heart? You got to trim it up. You open the heart, make a couple of cuts, and lay it out flat. Then you got to trim the inside and the valves out, trim the extra fat off the outside, and then just slice it up and fry it. And it's really good. You had tongue growing up. Tongue, you get a great flavor and a kiss at the same time. Yep, you got to be sure and peel the tongue first. You got to get all that skin off the outside because you don't want your dinner tasting you. A lot of your ground beef has beef heart in it. Yeah, like I said, it's muscle. It's got a little different texture, a little different flavor than your average chunk of beef, but it is really good. Had a semi driver grain hauler on our farm. Found a snapping turtle, put it in his cab, take it home, took a chunk out of his leg the size of a golf ball. It's amazing how fast those snapping turtles are. When they snap at something, I mean, it's faster than the eye can see. And we're just getting done with the snapping turtle laying season around here. You go out June, you go out around sunrise, and you'll see snapping turtles come up out of little swamps and ponds all over around here. They'll come up on the shoulders of the road and lay their eggs because it's nice, warm, gravelly, easy to dig stuff. And yeah, I see them all over throughout June. Heart's been really tough. Usually not. I mean, you don't, as long as you don't overcook it too bad. Just cook it till it's a nice medium, and it's usually pretty tender. Unless you slice it wrong, you got to slice it crosswise. If your heart is shaped like that, you want your slices to go this way. T. Reed loves moose nose. I can't say I've had any moose nose. I heard tongue has to be boiled long. Can it be braised? Yeah, you can braise it. Most people, sometimes the butcher will skin the tongue. Sometimes they won't. You gotta get the skin and the taste buds off of it first. But you can just, fillet that skin off of there. And like I said, I put it on. I've got that rotisserie, but you can broil it, you can roast it, you can boil it up if you want to, but for braising it would be good. It tends to be more tender towards the back of the tongue. You get out towards the tip of the tongue, it gets tougher out towards the tip. But the big chunk that's farther down in your mouth, that's a lot more tender. I'll eat anything but the liver. Yeah, I can't stand liver of any kind. I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of liver it is, beef liver, chicken liver. No, I just can't do it. And I've tried it. I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, you gotta try it the way I make it," and no, it's still just liver. I just cannot take it. Yeah, things like tongue, heart, gizzards. I mean, gizzards are great. was studying a captured snapping turtle in high school, and your uncle ended up making soup. You're supposed to put it back. Fried chicken liver beer battered? Nope. I just cannot do liver at any kind of any kind. Never liked it. Never could stand it. What does chicken taste like? Tastes like frog legs. Liver and onions. Yeah, I don't like onions either, for that matter. I love chicken gizzards. Yeah, I love chicken gizzards too. Pickled turkey gizzards. That's a bar room staple in Wisconsin. Pretty much any bar you go to is going to be a jar of pickled turkey gizzards sitting behind the bar. Good catfish bait. Yeah, that's about the only thing I could use it for. Used to feed it to my female dogs when they were nursing puppies. That was really good for them. Give them some extra iron, extra blood. Pickled pig's feet. Yeah, pig's feet, pork hocks. We had our local butcher set aside some liver for us. Guys that butchered cows and didn't want the liver, and just had them chunk it up for the dogs. And he packed it up and wrote dog liver on it like you would dog bones. We threw it out in the freezer and sent one of the kids' friends out to the freezer, had it out on the porch to get something out of there. And he comes up with this package. Dog liver? Why the hell do you have a dog's liver? No, it's dog liver for a dog, as in dog bones. It just flipped the poor kid right out. Couldn't figure out why we were eating some poor dog's liver. Love pickled trotters, yeah. Either trotters or pork hocks. Used to fight over the giblets, yeah. Oh yeah, every once in a while I'll get you can get packs of gizzards and hearts. Usually it's mostly gizzards, not so many hearts in them, but yeah, then fry up some nice batch of chicken gizzards. Dog liver, that's a Jeffrey Dahmer parcel. Yeah, I kind of think that's what he had in mind. Thank you, come again. Yeah, you like chicken livers too? Yeah, like I said, I just can't get past any kind of liver. Just don't label it long pork. Yeah, that probably would have really freaked him out even worse. Happy with omelets every day? Oh, good deal. But yeah, I just never much cared for onions. Don't like green peppers anymore. I used to love them when I was a kid, but just green bell peppers. Used to love them. Now I can't stand them. Kind of weird because usually it's the opposite. Things you can't stand as a kid, you get a taste for them as you're an adult. But I went the opposite way with the green peppers. Anyway, it's just about time to wrap this up. Like I said, next week, pretty sure there's not going to be a show. If I get in at the very last minute and have enough time to get underway and get something set up. But hopefully the following week, we should be back. Do a little bit more playing around with the clock. I should be able to show you how to put bushings in a clock. Like I said, the one I have is a little bit kind of an oddball compared to the way that you would, the average clock you're going to see. But we'll get into that when we get into that. And you love omelets? Yeah, omelets are great. So I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. A little bit disorganized, but we always are. I mean, it's never stay on any one particular topic all that long, even if we have one to start with. So hopefully you enjoyed the show, and come back not next week, but the following. And we'll see you guys. I'm going to get myself to bed because I've been up since this time last night. And I'll see you guys then. And, well, yeah, see ya.